Pope Francis has been seriously ill in hospital for 12 nights now, and that's never good for someone aged 88. Doctors are today saying that some overnight test results were a bit better, but the Pope is still in a critical but stable condition. Stationary, they call it. Now, you can be sure that the cardinals who elect new popes are already thinking of the next step. After Francis, what? Because, to be honest, I don't want to crow over a sick man's bed, but the Pope has not been a great success. For a start, there are even warnings that the Vatican faces bankruptcy, in part because donations are down. And that in turn is partly because Catholics have seen the Vatican's financial scandals. Why would you give them more money? But also because the Pope, well, it's of the left. I mean, the Pope that Hollywood would like, the film Conclave clearly liked. Yes, he would be of the left, but ordinary Catholics don't tend to really respond to popes who preach on global warming, against border controls, about transgender rights and about the redefinition of family values. Joining me is Professor Greg Craven, lawyer and former vice-chancellor and president of the Australian Catholic University, and a giant brain as well. Greg, sorry about that. Friendship counts, you see. I haven't seen...
It always does.
In this case, it does. I haven't seen the same size of crowds outside this Pope's hospital as I did when the great John Paul II, a conservative, was dying 20 years ago. To show viewers John Paul's last appearance when he couldn't even speak. What a brave man. How do you judge the reaction?
Well, I mean, putting it in context, whatever problems it's got, Catholicism is still the All Blacks of Christianity, 1.5 billion and rising on Francis's watch. So somebody likes him. Having said that, you're right about John Paul II, but who could follow John Paul II? This is the guy who probably did more to topple the evils of world communism than anyone else. He's a sort of a Gandhi meets Churchill type figure. So yes, I think there's less of an outpouring so far for Francis, although we haven't seen the funeral. But gee, it'd be hard to meet with John Paul II. He's not called John Paul the Great for nothing.
Or a saint. Yeah, but even on that point where you said, you're absolutely correct, that the heroicism of John Paul II, and it wasn't just in the manner of how he dealt with his final illness, but standing up to probably no man on earth or person on earth did more to kill off communism in Europe than he did. But in contrast, you got this Pope making a secret deal with China, not standing up to China, to the despair of of a cardinal in Hong Kong. They're saying, Pope, this is no good. I mean, this is the thing. He's not been a strong leader, has not been a very popular one, and the left-wing causes, I don't know, is it time for the church to turn against what the conclave, the movie says, and vote for a conservative?
Well, you shouldn't believe everything you hear in a Hollywood movie. I think the Pope has his own causes. It's true that the Catholic Church has, if you like, different polarities. On the one point, you've got identity, what the church is. On the other hand, you've got mission, what the church does. John Paul was very much an identity person. Francis is very much a mission person, what we do. The Pope's infallible in rare circumstances on matters of doctrine, but he's not infallible on points of, if you like, Vatican foreign policy. And I don't think there are many people who would say that the Chinese excursus has been a success. I think one of the challenges with Francis is that he likes setting hares running. He likes seeing if something will work. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, he's not entirely left-wing. I mean, remember, this is a guy who's always been said he's going to break the doctrine, he's going to bring in abortion, euthanasia, women priests. He's done none of those things. So he's been prepared to talk about them and not do them. I think what usually happens with the succession of a pope is you get someone a bit like the predecessor but dialed back 30%. Now, if that happens, I think you will get a more conservative pope, but you're not going to get, if you like, a reactionary pope.